Welcome back. We're playing another classic Windows game today, although I'm not playing the original version like I was playing with FreeCell. We're playing Minesweeper on Minesweeper.online. I was so happy to see that so many people liked the FreeCell video. So I'll definitely try to do more of these bonus videos in the future. Now we're doing Minesweeper today, one, to sort of keep up the theme with these classic Windows games, but two, because one of my oldest subscribers recommended that I play this game a while back, and so I wanted to do this for them. Now, just before we get started, I'm not an expert at Minesweeper. I know the basic rules, and I know how to use a little bit of logic to help with some of the trickier situations, but I don't know any of the patterns or how to play for efficiency or any of that more complicated stuff. So just be aware going into this that you are getting a beginner's perspective on Minesweeper. I'm also playing the no guessing mode. By default, Minesweeper can generate games where you're stuck with a 50-50 decision at the end with no way of knowing which is the correct one, and so you can end up with a luck-based position at the end of the game. And this mode, the no guessing mode, just generates the games in such a way where that will not happen. We will play the standard mode though. We're going to play through the easy, medium, hard, and we'll try evil of the no guessing mode, and then after that we'll play some of the standard mode as well. So let's get started, and I will explain the rules quickly for anyone who's unfamiliar with Minesweeper. So the goal of the game is to reveal all of the spaces except the ones with mines in them. If you click a space that has a mine in it, it will blow up and end the game. But there is a way to tell which spaces have mines in them and which ones do not, and that's what these numbers are on the field. Each number tells you how many mines are connected to that space, including diagonals. So this tile showing a 1 means that this tile is connected to one mine, and this tile is only connected to one not open space, so that means this tile must be a mine. And we can see the same thing here. This tile is only connected to one space, so this must be a mine. Now, if we take a look at this number right here, this tile is touching only one space with a mine, but there is another open space that it's also connected to. Since this is a mine, that means that this one cannot be a mine. So we know that this is a safe space. And the same thing with this one here. This 2 is already connected to 2 mines, so this space cannot be a mine. Now there's actually a little trick you can use to speed up this process. If you have a tile that you've already confirmed is not connected to any more mines, you can just click on the number and it will automatically click on all the other tiles for you. So you don't have to individually click on all of them. Once you've confirmed the mines for a particular tile, you can just click the tile and it will do everything for you. It's much quicker. This is called chording. That's chord, like a musical chord, C-H-O-R-D. And so far we've seen pretty straightforward examples of mines. We've got another one here, and we know that's safe. We've got another one here, we can click that. But there will be situations where it's not so straightforward, and you will have to do a little bit of logic and deduction to determine where the mine is, and that's where the game becomes really interesting. So we'll see that when we get to it. But there was our first game 1. It was an easy game. We're going to move on to the next difficulty, which is medium. You can see the board is bigger on this one, and let me just make it a little smaller so you can see the whole thing. So let's start again. And the only difference between the difficulties is the size of the board and the number of mines. At least that's the difference between the easy, medium, and hard. I've never played the evil difficulty, so there might be something different about that one, but I'm not sure. So let's get started here. We've got a mine there. These are all safe. A mine there. And now I think we've got our first situation where we've got to use a little bit of logic to find out where the mines are. There's no easy corners or anything like that that we can easily rule out. So let's take a look at this one, for example. We've got a 1 here, so the mine is either here or here. We don't know which. We've also got a 2 here, which means the mines can be either in these 2 spaces, in these 2 spaces, or in these 2 spaces separated like this. However, we actually know for a fact that it can't be in these 2 spaces, because if it were, this would be a 2. So we know one of these spaces must be safe. So the only options for this 2 are either these 2 spaces or these 2 spaces. And in both of those options, this is a mine. So this space must be a mine. And that means right here we have a mine connected to a 1, so we can do that. And then you see it opened up a bunch of new options for us. So sometimes it's not so straightforward where you just look to see where a mine must be. You have to think a little bit deeper than that to figure out where the mine is. And like I said, I think that's where the game actually becomes much more interesting. And if you're an expert player, there's all sorts of patterns that you can memorize. So someone who really knows what they're doing, when they saw the 1 and the 2, they wouldn't have even had to go through all that logic that I just did. They would just see the 1 and the 2, and they would instantly know which one is the mine, without having to go through all that thinking process. But I'm not nearly skilled enough at this game to have all of the patterns memorized or anything like that. And let's just getting some more of the easy ones out of the way. This one we can click that one too. For this 2, the 2 mines can either be here and here, here and here, or here and here. But we know it can't be these 2 because these would both be connected to the 1, so that one must be the mine. And a similar situation here, since this 2 is already touching a mine, we can basically think of it as a 1 when it comes to evaluating this 2 right here. So we know this must be one of the mines because it can't be these 2. And I believe it cannot be this space, because if it was this space, it would fulfill all of these 3, but it would not fulfill this one. This one would have to be either here or here, but either space would cause this 1 to not make sense. So it cannot be here, which means this must be a mine. There we go. And we've got that 1-2 situation here, so here's a mine. Now that's a mine. This is a mine. This 3 is satisfied. So is that 2. We've got a 4 here, it's already connected to 1, and then it's touching 3 other spaces, so all 3 of these must be mines. More just simple moves. One of my favorite ASMR YouTubers, ASMR Logic, plays this game a lot. She's very relaxing when she plays it. And she has a particular sort of way that she sort of talks through her moves when she plays it. But I don't want to copy her and say exactly what she does. So I'll just kind of give it my own spin, I guess. But right now. I made a mistake. Oh, this 2 was already touching 2. I started going a little bit too fast and I made a mistake. Oh, that's a shame. Well, that's what it looks like when you lose. I was so close to the end, too. Okay, let's try again. Like I said, I'm not an expert at this. And we've got 1, 2 here, so that can't be a mine. Or, I mean, that must be a mine. Which means those are safe. And that's a mine, that's a mine. And these 2 must be mines. That must be a mine. Okay, so for this 2, we know it can't be these 2. So it has to be either these 2 or these 2, which means that's a mine. That means we can click that 1. That's a mine. And that's a mine. We can click these. And we can click these 2s. And this must be a mine. We can click these. That's a mine. Okay. And I think this must be a mine because this is essentially a 1 because it's already touching 2 here. And so this must be a mine for this 2, which means we can click these. That's a mine. And that's a mine. I'll try to slow down a little bit so I don't make another silly mistake. So I think this cannot be a mine because we would have no way of satisfying this 1 without turning this into a 2, so that must be safe. We're getting through it again. I'm going to be careful before I do any clicks on the numbers. Just make absolutely certain I've satisfied all of the mines before I make any clicks. I don't want to cause another mistake like last time. Okay, we've just got this last quadrant over here. Should just have a couple left. And there we go. We solved the medium game. Alright, let's move on to hard. And I just want to see what the evil looks like. Oh, it's just a little bigger than hard. Wonder what's so evil about it. Alright. Let's start again. We've got 100 mines, or sorry, 99 mines in the hard difficulty. And it looks like we're already going to have to start using a little bit of reasoning, so that must be a mine. And these 2 must be mines. That's a mine. Now, this 2 is basically a 1 because it's touching this one, and this 4 is basically a 2 because it's touching these, so it's basically that same 1-2 pattern, so we know that's a mine. And again, here we've got the same situation. This is touching 1, this is touching 1, so this 2, 3 is basically a 1-2, so we know that's a mine. Now, I'm actually not sure where to go from here. Actually, something I don't really like about this online version is that in the original Windows version, you could double right click on something, and it would let you put a question mark there. So you could put that you're not sure if a mine is there. I'm not sure why that isn't in this version. Maybe the expert players don't find it that useful, and this online version is kind of geared towards the people who really know what they're doing. I'm actually a little stumped right now. I'm not sure where we can progress here. There's got to be something I'm not looking at. I think this 5 is the key. So this 5 needs 3 spaces. It can be here, here, and here. It can be here, here, and here. No, it can't be here, here, and here because that would make this a 3. And it can't be here, here, and here because of the same reason. So this is okay. This is not, and this is not. So it must be this then. No, I didn't logic that out right. That's right, it could have been these two in that one. Okay. Well, like I said, we'll get the hang of it. I just gotta get more used to it. With enough practice, I'm sure I can get the hang of it. It is very tricky. It seems easy at first, and then you get in those situations where you have to kind of work it through, and then you realize it's not so straightforward. I do like a Minesweeper, though. I think it's a very sort of elegantly designed puzzle. I think whoever came up with the original concept is very clever. It's simple to understand, but there's a lot of nuance to solving it, which I think is the sign of a great puzzle. When it's very simple to explain the rules, it only takes, 1 or 2 minutes to sort of explain how everything works, but then there's a lot of potential for interesting situations. And I think many solitaire games are also like that. And I also think it's a sign of a good puzzle when you can just sort of generate an infinite number of them like this. Because then you can just keep playing it over and over. There's something very appealing about that, of just being able to sort of play one puzzle almost an infinite number of times. And I don't know. It's and I think that's something a lot of other solitaire players also appreciate. There's something that's kind of funny to me, which is that I was looking at the Zachtronics Solitaire collection, which is one of my favorite solitaire collections, and they recently released a patch for it, and I was like, oh, I wonder what this patch is for. And I looked at the notes, and the patch was increasing the number of digits displayed in the score counter for one of the games from 5 digits to 6 digits, because people kept reaching 99,999 and then messaging the developer and telling them that they need to raise it so that they can get more wins. And I think that's just such a good testament to the dedication of solitaire players. And I'm sure Minesweeper players are also the same way. There are probably people out there who've solved hundreds of thousands of these boards. Now I think right here is going to be the key to progressing here. I'm trying to work through it in my head right now. I think it has to be here, right? Because if it was here, then this 3 would have to be satisfied in one of these places, and it can't be. And it can't be here and here, because then this 2 would have 2. So I think it has to be here. Okay. Now I think this 2 is another example. Okay, so I think this 2, it could be in these two positions or it could be in these two positions. But I don't think it could be in these two positions, which means this must be a mine. Okay, here we go. Now we're making progress. I'm going to have to work on this sometime. I'm going to have to look at these, and let's do it right now. Let's take a look here and see if I can figure out this section right here. So this can be in any of these 3 spots. I don't think there could be one here, because then we still need to satisfy this 2 right here, and if we put it here, then this would be a 3, so I think it can't be here. Okay. There we go. Hopefully that's going to get us through this corner here. Okay, we solved that corner, and now let's progress over this way. And I think this cannot be a mine, because then we would need to satisfy this 2 in either of these 2 positions, but that would make this a 4. So I think that must be safe. Now, I think there's something you can figure out when you've got 3 1s like this, but I don't remember what it is. Let's look at this 2 right here. It can't be these 2, and it can't be these 2. It must be these 2, I think. I don't think there's anything else it could be. Okay, here we go. And here we've got a 1-2 situation, because both of these are touching this 1, so that must be a mine. Here we go. Getting a lot of simple ones now. No more tricky situations so far. Now I think there can't be a mine here, because then we would need to satisfy this 3 in one of these 2 spots, and that would make this a 3, so I think that is safe. We're starting to get really far in. This is where I start to get kind of nervous. Let's look at this 4. It needs 3 mines, and it's got 4 spaces connected to it, so it can't be all 3 of these. Oh no, it could be. It could be all 3 of these. It could be these 2 and this one. It could be this one and these 2. It's a bit harder to do when you have to figure out permutations of 3 mines rather than just 2. This is why I kind of would have liked to have the question marks. Let's start by just let's visualize this by thinking. We'll mark all of them for. No, I'm gonna forget which one is. I wish I had the question marks. So the permutations are. Let's think of the permutations as which cell is not a mine, rather than which ones have mines. So let's say this cell doesn't have a mine. Does that work? These 3 spots all have to have mines, and then that one. So that would work. This one being safe would work. What about this one? If this one is safe, then these 3 would all be mines, and that would work, because this one would have 2, this and this one, and this would be the last one. Now if this one was safe, these 2 would be mines, and then this one would be the 3rd mine, and I think that would still work. I think this is the only one that's definitely not safe, because if this one was safe, that would mean all three of these are mines, and that wouldn't work for the two. So I think this is definitely a mine, which means we can click that. Okay, that helped a little bit, but we're still not super clear about what's going on up here. Let's look at this right here. So this one, this one, if this was a mine, that would work, because that would satisfy both of these. If this was a mine, that would also work. If this was a mine, it wouldn't work because, okay, yeah, because this 2 would still need to be satisfied by one of these spaces, and that would make this a 2, so this is not a mine. How about this 3? Could this space be safe? These 2 would be mines. That would work. Could this space be safe? These 2 would be mines. And that wouldn't work, because this 3 would still need a mine here, and that would make this a 3. So this space could not be safe. It has to have a mine. Could this space be safe? Yes, because this 3 could be satisfied by this, and then there could be a mine here, which satisfies the 3 and the 2. Could this space be safe? Yes, because this 3 could be satisfied here, and then this 2 could be satisfied by one of these 2 tiles. Okay. Oh man, this is starting to get hard. At least for me. I don't know how to progress over here. Don't know how to progress over here. Yeah, I actually have no clue how to progress from here. I'm looking at all of these areas and I can't figure, and I'm sure I'm just missing something here. Because I know there's no way this is like that hard. Am I gonna have to guess? I might use a hint. I would prefer not to have to do that, but I can't figure out how to progress from here just by using logic. Oh my god, I was missing this the whole time. I feel so silly. Wow. I was missing an obvious... okay. I just overlooked a square that was already satisfied. That had unclicked spaces next to it. Oh, I feel silly now. But now I'm actually not sure how to progress from here. Well, we can figure it out, right? Like, this 3 can't be these 2, so this has to be a mine. Now this is satisfied. Now we know that's a square. Okay, we're getting somewhere now. That was what was holding me back. Just a silly... me missing something silly. Now let's slow down a bit. I don't want to blow this right near the end. Especially after going that long trying to figure something out. Okay. We are getting there. Okay, I think we have to think a little bit again. I think this can't be a mine, because that would make this, that would mean this 4 would have to be satisfied in one of these places, and that would make this a 3. I think we can do a similar thing with this. I think this can't be a, I think this has to be a mine, because if this was safe, then this 3 would have to be satisfied by these 2. So I think this has to be a mine. Now this 3 can either be here or here. So this can't be a mine. Okay. We're almost there. I'm so scared of making a mistake. Oh, this is touching 3. Okay. These have to be mines. These have to be mines. That's touching 3. That's touching 1. That's a mine. This is touching 1, 2, 3, 4. One of these has to be a mine. And this 3 can't be these 2. So this can't be a... got it reversed. It can't be these two, so this is definitely a mine. Oh, I was so close to the end. Okay, I think we're gonna give hard mode one more of a shot. And then that's probably gonna be it for this video. I was hoping to do hard and evil and then play some standard, but unfortunately I lost so many games due to careless mistakes that it ended up taking me a lot longer than I expected to get through easy, medium, and hard. So, unfortunately, I think I'm not going to be able to do as much tonight as I wanted to. But that's okay. I still had a good time playing Minesweeper. I just... sometimes I don't think things through enough, I guess. Oh, I was so close to the end. Oh, that hurts so much. I will say that there's something about losing at Minesweeper compared to losing at Solitaire is that it's so much more immediate, right? Like when you make a bad move in Minesweeper, you immediately know you lost the game, whereas a lot of the time in Solitaire, you don't realize you've lost until it's until you've worked it through and realized, oh, I can't do anything anymore. So there is something nice about just knowing as soon as you've made the mistake that you are done. Okay, I think now we gotta start working through it. But where to start? I think this has to be a mine. Because otherwise this 3 would need these 2 to be satisfied, which would make this a 3. Can we do something similar here? I think this has to be a mine for similar reasons right here. And I think this also has to be a mine. Because this 3 would need to be satisfied. If this was not a mine, this 3 would need to be satisfied by these 2, which is not possible. So, okay. There we go. Now we can make some more progress. And this 3 needs to be connected to 2. And I think it can't be these 2, so that has to be a mine, which means we can click that. And that. That's a mine. Okay. Alright. And we've got the 1-2 pattern, so that's a mine. Alright. We're getting there. We're getting there. Okay. Possibly redeeming myself and winning this hard mode one. But we've still got this whole half of the board to do, so let's not get ahead. So far, all easy moves. Nothing too complicated yet. Okay. Now I think we gotta start working through it. I think we're out of easy moves. I think this can't be a mine, because then this 4 would need to be either here or here, which would make this a 3. Which means this must be a mine. Okay, here we go. More progress is being made. this must be a mine, which means we can click that, which means that must be a mine. We can click that. Now this 2, it can't be these 2, so this must be a mine. And this one, it can't be these 2. No, it could. It can't be these 2, because that would make this a 4. So it can be these 2, it could be these 2, it could be these 2. There's no common denominator between all those. There's no space I can rule out, I don't think. I think this can't be a mine, because this 2 would still need to be satisfied. I think this is safe. Okay, so that's a mine. Okay. I was unsure how to progress, but I think we can move on from here. We can click that. I missed that. Okay. More easy moves. I actually definitely do not mind the easy moves right now. I just want to win one. So I think this can't be a mine, because this 2 would need to be satisfied in one of these 2 spots, which means that these 2 must be mines. Okay. Come on. Don't screw up again. Oh no, I don't know that for sure. That must be a mine. Oh, we're getting lots of easy ones now. Alright, I'm getting close to the end again. Please don't screw this up. I think this one has to be a mine, because it can't be these 2. And this one can't be these 2, so this has to be a mine. I think this can't be a mine, because if it was, this 3 would need to be satisfied by one of these. Okay. Which means this must be a mine, which means we can click that. That has to be a mine. We can click that. That has to be a mine. Oh, we're getting so close again. I'm so scared of screwing up. Oh, come on. We're so close. Alright. Just a little bit. Let's go. This looks tricky, so I'm going to come down here and do some of this easy stuff. Okay. This little square right here is all that's left. We know there's 2 mines in there. This has to be one of them. Because these 2... Oh no, this 4 only has connected to 3. Oh no, how do I solve this? I think this can't be a mine. Okay. And that's satisfied. Ooh, I think we won. I think we won. Yes! Okay. Alright. Okay. Well, we managed to win hard. That's good. Okay, we're probably gonna play this again sometime. I had so much fun playing this. The next time we play, we're probably going to play Evil. we'll try to win this one, and then we'll play the standard mode. You can see the standard mode, it doesn't give you the X to click at the start. You have to click randomly, and sometimes you just die. And then sometimes it puts you in situations where you have to make a 50-50 guess at the end. Whereas this mode never does that. But yeah, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed Minesweeper, another classic Windows game. I used to play this as a kid on my dad's work computer. It was a lot of fun. I also used to play FreeCell, but I did not know how that game worked as a kid. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Consider subscribing. We're going to be doing more computer games like this. Not just Windows games. I think the next computer game video we do is probably going to be FreeCell again, but after that, I might start Baldur's Gate because I've been really interested in starting that game on the channel. I've really wanted to play it again, and I thought it would kind of be perfect since I've been playing lots of RPG type games on this channel with the dungeon crawling card games and the 4 Against Darkness, and I'm looking for other RPGs to play as well, so it seemed like playing some Baldur's Gate would be a perfect fit for the channel. But my next video is going to be playing 40 Thieves with real cards. Then we're probably going to be playing some more 4 Against Darkness. Hopefully I will get a FreeCell, Microsoft FreeCell video in there somewhere. And then we'll see what we do in the future from there, because I usually don't plan my videos out that far in the future, so I have no idea what's going to go past that. Sorry, a lot of rambling here at the end. Basically all I'm saying is, if any of that stuff sounds interesting, and if you're not already asleep, consider subscribing to my channel and checking those videos out when they come out. And thank you so much for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you all have a great night and sleep well.